Yeah, now I have to go down too. You have to
Okay,
go up.
so
The spark gap,
do it this way
that's so hard.
and this way, like that. There you go. And by the way, just to be clear, we are live right now. I just want to make sure you guys
We are live.
Yeah, this is our first demo of the day.
I have it so easy. I just have
That's
to point
true.
my.
Yeah, yeah.
It's way more confusing.
See, this is why we had to invite
welcome
you back.
everyone to the Spark Gap. We're kind of picking up where we left off last week with Ubi, or last time with Ubi. We were exploring some LLMs and some ways to generate code in MicroPython that we thought might be relevant to our overall minimal viable project, which is trying to get hardware that we can talk to and describe something that we want to do and have it magically, in terms of the user experience, manifest the thing that we're describing.
Can I say that again in artist speak?
Please, that's the whole point.
I am here with these lovely and talented engineers to ask how I can have a natural language interface, an intuitive interface with machine intelligence, and get interesting electrical behaviors in my artwork without really knowing how to design my own hardware or write code.
Perfect. And in case people didn't catch the previous stream, we should introduce Ubi, or rather let Ubi introduce himself. Ubi, would you like to tell us who you are and what you're bringing?
Yes. Well, I'm a creative technologist, nowadays mostly known as a hybrid designer. I deal with physical and digital product design and engineering, and I work at Arduino, and like I oversee a bunch of things, and I'm madly in love with MicroPython.
Oh my God. And I am not at all. So I'm glad you're here.
And I'm caught in between the middle because I initially didn't like MicroPython, but now I'm starting to like it. And also Ubi is badgering me pretty much daily until I start liking it.
Does this mean I'm going to like it too? Oh my God.
I think you will. I think you will.
Wow.
I mean, for
me,
cool.
Let's try.
Like C++, just really, I like it because I understand it and I can literally just like compile it in my head, see what's happening, like understand what the microcontroller is actually doing. Maybe that doesn't matter though, and maybe it's just better to have something that's more capable in terms of iteration and lets you just execute your ideas faster. So
I think that's like a meme, you know, where it's like an artist never said that. No, I mean, some artists, okay, but yeah. Anyway, that's why we're here. You know, let's bring the right brain and the left brain together in a happy, playful, fun, interesting, contemporary, fresh, new, exciting, amazing, profitable narrative.
I just want to mention something.
Flattery. Yes, please.
Real quick, my internet is just a disaster today. I don't know if I'm frozen on your screen, but I'm frozen on my screen. And so if it cuts out, just keep going without me. You'll be fine. But I just wanted to mention that for you guys and for the viewers. Just don't worry about it if it cuts out again.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so, you know, David's real. We can vouch for him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So you guys, last time we couldn't get AI, meaning ChatGPT, to compile some MicroPython code to display something, I'm forgetting what, something related to Taylor Swift, maybe lyrics. We wanted to have the lyrics on, what was it? Some sort of display you had, I forget what, but anyway, basically like we never got out of the gate, period, right?
Without an expert.
No, we couldn't.
Are you ready for your desktop to be shared, Ubi?
I am, but you know, if you remember, this is, of course, the demo effect. Last time after the call, I sent you a screenshot of the display working, and now it doesn't. So it's like, I am cursed. I am literally cursed.
Well, our YouTube channels, like all the ways that AI can break.
It's not AI this time. It's me. But I'm not trying. I'm not trying to defend AI. I am, I'm very double about it. But I am trying to defend MicroPython and why it doesn't work. Because
Okay,
now
well,
my board.
you
I
can
can't connect
you can
anymore.
focus on fixing your problem while David and I can have a conversation, because there is something I wanted to talk to you about, David.
Something I want to talk about as well, but what's your thing?
Yeah, no. Well, no, you go first. You have an object.
So yeah, I wasn't sure what I was going to bring this up, but it sounds like we got a moment now, so we can do it now. So we've been talking about this idea of kind of conversational hardware, and there's not been, our premise is that there's lots of things like software tools where you can type a thing in and a picture happens, type a thing in and some content happens. But we're trying to sort of combine things into a more seamless experience outside of a screen. And so with our idea of being able to talk to a device and have something happen, we weren't seeing much in the market that represents the kind of ideas that we were having, except I'm on the sort of advanced exclusive beta list for this new device from Seed, which is kind of relevant to the ideas that we've been talking about. So this is the Seed SenseCap Watcher, and it is a display and a camera and a little neural computing board plus the ESP32 and a battery and stuff like that, all in one device. And it's, very early days right now, but it's quite relevant to kind of the stuff that we're talking about, because it includes these tasks such as, so it's got the camera, so it can do, for example, human detection. But what it can do that makes that a bit more interesting, like that kind of stuff's been around for a while. And I'll go ahead and load that up, and you can see the camera is gonna, I don't know how to quite point this at the screen in a way that's gonna make it work. I was gonna try and human detect you, but I actually don't know where it's pointing. So I'm trying to point it at Ubi. I don't know if it's.
Oh, and it could also be infrared, David. How does it detect humans?
It's just a regular camera. I mean, if I point it at myself, it'll work. But I thought I'd be able to point it at you guys and have it work. But I can't even turn it around fast enough to show you it working. But I promise you that it's detecting me and then showing me. But that's not what's interesting about it. Like the hardware in general is sort of, we've been able to do this for a while with pretty minimalistic hardware. I've got that $10 useful sensors board that does person detection completely in the box. And, this is something we've been doing for a long while with hardware. But what makes it interesting is that there's a component for it. There's an app for it as well. And so not just person detection. I don't know how well this won't show well if I hold it up to the camera, I'm sure. But this little app here has
it's flooded.
Conversational.
Maybe put your hand in front of your light.
I'm doing it. I was turning the ring light off as well. So here's this little conversation that you can have with the app, and there's me on the app being detected as a human. But what you can do is you can say, send me a text message if a person in a red shirt walks past.
Okay.
And so that is a lot closer to the kind of ideas that we're having right now. You have to type it into the app. You don't get to just talk to this thing like we want to do and just say, make me a wave animation on the screen. You have to like type it into here and hope that the LLM understands you. But it's going towards the kind of idea that we were talking about, which I thought was pretty interesting, that other people are exploring the area.
So let's stop for a minute. Let me see if I can understand what you're saying. So the device made by Seed is designed to detect people. It has an interface. No.
So
start over from the very, what's the thing for? Why what were they selling it as?
So I don't know that they have I think it's just an idea, an experiment, a notion right now. So this is a camera with special neural computing capabilities, plus a regular ESP32 for regular kind of IoT stuff, plus a screen and a battery. And so human detection was just one of the things you can do with it. You can do anything with it that you could do with a camera and with a screen and with whatever. That was just one example of one of the built-in apps, or rather, more importantly, one of the built-in models, because you can put whatever machine learning model on here to make it do all kinds of different
things. Okay. So let me try again. So basically what they've done is build an open source piece of hardware with AI on it that I can write code for to get it to do things that, well, just
But the whole point was don't write code. Just talk to it and say, let me know when someone in a brown uniform shows up at my door with a package. You don't have to write code. You just tell it that.
Okay. So, because the problem, like, I love my iPhone, and I'm sure when Apple comes out with their AI-enabled iPhone, it's going to be amazing. But one of the problems with the Apple device is it's got all these incredible things, but you can't access them. It's so shut down, you know, and I'm pretty sure Android's the same. So it's like, it's kind of left on the makers to figure out how we can get similar handheld pervasive computing that does cool stuff. And it's hard, because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you is when I interact with ChatGPT and ask it to answer a question for me or generate an image for me, the results are incredible. I mean, they're so good, right? But it does what it does, right? And then here we are trying to interact with hardware, and we can't even like get Taylor Swift lyrics on a small like 20 by 20 display. Not that, I mean, just, you know what I'm saying? It's like very, very behind. So is the problem really that, or is the situation, should I say, really just that, you know, OpenAI just has like so freaking much money to throw at doing.
So you're asking why these billion-dollar organizations are making more progress than a couple
I know. Okay. I know. I mean, we just have to like put it out there.
Yeah. Ubi, you having any luck?
Behind.
Did you get it working, Ubi?
So it was a USB problem on my machine, and I still cannot see the hardware. I just cannot see the Arduino boards.
It's invisible.
I have plugged 3, and I think that this Mac's USB has just died.
All right, so join us next Sunday for the third installment of.
So this is where you want to see like, hey, ChatGPT or Seed hardware widget, why can't I see my USB port?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny because it worked. I could connect to the board. I ran it once. I had to change something to make the test appear, and then it disappeared. Now I cannot see. No Arduino board is recognized by my machine.
All right. Well, you're trying to figure that out, I have one more question for.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to figure it out. This thing needs to be.
Do you have a second? Do you have a second machine there, like a laptop or something you can use just to like and hold it up to the screen or anything like that at all? Or?
Nope. This is my streaming machine. Which
you want to restart and come back?
Yeah, you could drop off.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
Hey,
bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so then, David, I have another question for you. All right, so these billion-dollar companies that are making OpenAI that I can talk to and get really cool answers in a text format in their window. Okay, fine, but still, it's really, really good at that and really, really good at making images, although sometimes it's terrible. But you get where I'm going with this. Why can't I have a conversation with these billion-dollar large language models and have them solve my hardware problems? Is it because the large language models aren't trained on how to do that because it's not interesting enough? Like, are we just too niche? Is this where makers are like too small of a population to be interesting, to be fodder for what large language models are learning? I mean, surely engineers are using AI to design hardware inside of Microsoft and Apple, et cetera, right?
I think right now it's just a general experiment. So yeah, we are specifically a niche, and I think they're not sure what to do with it necessarily right now, and so they're just trying to serve a broad audience. And all of the things that we talk about, I mean, like the reason that we can do this stuff is because it is not that far from where things are right now. You could have web-based. So Arduino has their web-based IDE with their little cloud widget that runs on your computer and lets you connect via web USB to an Arduino. So there's nothing technically that couldn't have the entire thing in a web browser where you're talking over here and describing your code, and it's generating code and flashing it.
You still there? Oh my gosh, everyone left me. Here I am all by myself. This is
sorry.
Like this is I think so hilarious that we're trying to have this conversation about using
Two
technology.
technical people have had, yeah, it's great. It's
and everything's just like melting down.
Well,
oh God,
sure
it does.
Yeah.
But you know, it is Mercury retrograde.
I was literally just gonna say, you took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say, I'm sure Mercury's in retrograde or something is gonna explain why we're having so many difficulties. But
yeah, totally.
What I thought you were gonna say though is, I thought you were just gonna say, how come you have to type into the thing, and how comes it doesn't even, have text to speech and voice recognition? Because that's something I think is like why don't they have that on there? Like, that's a really basic thing that just seems like it would make it so much more interactive and usable, and something that has been in existence for decades. Like, why haven't they added that on there is what I want to know.
This reminds me so much of 1998, 99, 2000, that time frame where we all saw that eBay was going to be this huge marketplace. It already was, but like really, really huge. Like we all saw, well, at that point, Amazon was like selling books and going bankrupt, and everyone was laughing at them. But anyway, I mean, people were buying URLs right and left. Like everyone knew what the internet would become and how we would be buying and selling and whatever. But, people hadn't quite figured out the business model, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we're right there. We're in that same place right now, right? I know that hopefully soon, I hope it doesn't take 20 years. I mean, come on, knock on wood. I'm going to be able to just say to my Apple or my Android or whatever, hey, connect to this Arduino and display Taylor Swift graphics on my display. And my computer is going to be like, oh, I see you've got a USB port. You've got this Arduino Uno plus thing, and it's running this kind of screen. And so, here you go, like yawn, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe because, first of all, I think the cycle goes, there's the bubble, there's the hype, and it's about the technology. But then the thing that comes out of that is, what are the killer apps? So there was the internet, and everyone was just like freaking out, making websites or whatever, like you said. But I don't think, I think that there's the famous like pets.com type situations where people put a lot of resources into something that wasn't successful. So I think right now is the part where everyone's just trying all kinds of random stuff, and some of it's going to stick. I don't think anybody knows which is going to stick. I don't think that, I think, eBay, sure, whatever, but like there's lots of examples of like things that were very popular then that no longer exist at all, and vice versa, things that didn't necessarily seem like they were going to emerge as the sort of victors, and now we just say, of course, Amazon, even though back then it didn't necessarily seem like buy.com seemed way better than Amazon 20 years ago, and then Amazon obviously eclipsed them. But so I think we're in that figuring stuff out in a kind of crazy mania of seeing what sticks to the wall right now.
No, I agree with that, but I do think that there are some key differences in what's happening right now, because you hear all over the news like, oh God, AI is a bubble, it's a bubble, it's a bubble. I do not see it as a bubble at all. If anything, I see that it's a lot more useful than people are aware of yet. I think people are still learning how to use it. Because the interesting thing about, at least this is, of course, personal experience, the way I interact with AI, garbage in, garbage out, man.
Right.
Like I was talking to a young kid who I mentor, and she was asking very general questions. I mean, I don't want to say it was garbage, but she was young, she's learning. And the general questions that she was asking were leading to some sort of uninteresting answers from ChatGPT. Yeah. That's the way it is, right? If you go to ChatGPT and say like, make me a masterpiece painting, you're going to get something that probably looks like sparkly unicorns in an idyllic field with a rainbow lake. It's like,
sounds dope, but,
or like maybe it looks like, Mona Lisa, but like with like more stars. I don't know. I mean, that is not good. Okay. Nor is it innovative. Like if you're not, the way to get really interesting results from AI is to ask really interesting questions. So I think we need excellent human designers now as much as we ever did. Right. But then when you take human designers and you put them in this context where you have like massive amounts of computing and synthetic and comparative power, where you can just say, iterate, show me this, show me that, show me this, show me that, try this, try that, right? Then you can move through possibility spaces like, holy cow, like think about the time saving and the radical new, I mean, this is going to be mind-boggling for medicine, for solving technology problems, scientific insight. Whoa.
I would push back though and say, just because something has utility doesn't mean there can't be a bubble associated with it. Because again, in each of these other technologies, there was the web bubble, and then a bunch of stuff happened, exploded, and then like all the actual useful things kept going. And same with like mobile app bubble and crypto bubble and like every other one like that. There's always like a bunch of people who don't really understand it, suddenly get interested in something that we've already been doing for years and pour a bunch of money and excitement into it, set it on fire, and then, wander off again. And it's the people who are kind of already doing that stuff and already doing useful things with that. And maybe some new people, hopefully as well, just kind of keep doing their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just hope, I guess I know you're right. The reason why I push back on the bubble thing a little bit is just that, history does repeat itself, but it doesn't have to in the same spectacular way. And I think sometimes when we have this like, oh my God, it's a bubble. Oh my God, the bubble collapsed. Right. You end up with just like so much waste and chaos that doesn't need to happen. If we just all take like, but like we need to take like a collective breath and be like,
right.
All right, this is an amazing opportunity, an inflection point. There's a lot of incredible stuff that we can do here.
But I can't think of a better way to describe the period that we're in right now than the two words that you just said of waste and chaos. That's like where we are right now. Go ahead and try and convince people not to do that. But like that doesn't seem, it seems like the hype, the bubbles are getting frothier, not more reserved and controlled and less crazy.
Wait, I can't. I'm having a spark gap moment. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what's going on?
This seemed like, considering what's happening in the world right now, is like, I got to pull out my Earth jersey, man.
Well, we're still waiting for Ubi to come back. While we're doing that, I don't have a ton of things to talk about.
I'd like to go back to the seed device.
I'd like to go back to your outfit. Tell me about your outfit.
Oh, well, I should show you one of the funniest parts. So I've got, it's my Earth jersey, but then like, look, I like ripped the stomach.
And to be clear, I mean, explain.
Godzilla was like,
this is a piece that you created.
Yes.
Right. So explain that. Tell us about that real quick.
Oh, I love fashion. I've always loved fashion. I absolutely love fashion design. My mother is an incredible seamstress, so I grew up with it. And so I design my own clothes and sew them up. And one of these days I'm going to have them for sale. But it turns out that the business of fashion is a whole lot harder for me anyway than the artistry of it. But
every time I talk to Kelly, practically, she's wearing a different thing. And she's like, oh, did I show you this before? The Wi-Fi whale? And I'm like, no, I've never seen this before. And
actually, I have that right here just by chance because I'm going to meet some screen printers this afternoon. And I'm like, keeping my Wi-Fi whale. Isn't that cute?
Well, I just wanted a surreptitious chance to plug your awesome stuff that you're doing. But what was the question you were going to ask me about the seed thing?
Oh, well, actually, so there are two other things I wanted to talk to you about. And check your email though to make sure poor Ubi is.
I have been. If you saw me like picking up my phone every couple minutes, I'm like, let me just make sure he's like.
All right, I just don't want him to be like lost in space or eaten by Godzilla or whatever.
It's not like a Zoom call where we have to let him in or anything. So he should be able to get in by himself. But I'm definitely.
Oh, no, you do have to let him into through the waiting room. There is a waiting room
for StreamYard.
Yeah.
I didn't let you in.
Yeah, you did.
No, you're talking about I put him on stage. He's not backstage.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for him to even come backstage. And if you see me like looking down every so often, I'm like,
Ubi has left the building. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So two things. I mean, just to wrap up the seed thing again. because that's pretty interesting. So if I buy this seed device, I can talk to it in a natural language way. Is that right? Or type to it through my app? Is that right?
To it right now, but again, I'm assuming that voice recognition will be coming soon because that's a trivial problem to solve. But yes.
Okay. And it can see people.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how it's seeing people? It has like a camera.
Yeah. So do you see this little? Oh, I'm backwards. You see this little circle up here? That's a camera.
Okay.
So that's how it's seeing. By the way, one of the coolest things about it, it's got a jog dial. Do you remember jog dials? Like Sony devices used to have this. Oh look.
Oh wow. I like that. Yeah. I love like. Oh, good.
Keep talking to me, but I'm gonna get Ubi on the stage real quick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the seed thing is really cool. It looks really nifty, and I'm just trying to imagine like how I could use it. I'm just curious, like what was their reason in making it? Ubi, you're back. We were concerned you got eaten by Godzilla.
Yeah, I had to restart the building.
Oh,
I don't know. No, I don't know what happened, but like suddenly this machine, which is usually very stable, just didn't want to cooperate anymore.
Well, so, we know what happened. We figured it out while you were gone. It's Mercury retrograde, you know.
It definitely is Mercury Gatorade. That's what somebody said.
You spilled Gatorade.
Mercury Gatorade.
I see a fourth. I see another Ubi. Do we need to get this Ubi in here too?
What? Is a doppelganger?
No, that's the screen. That's the screen that.
Okay.
Theory. Oh no! Wait, it's not working. Oh,
this is like stranger than fiction. I mean, people are going to be like, "Wait, you know, is AI like behind the scenes trying to make something exciting happen here?"
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know.
AI doesn't want the truth to get out.
Maybe not.
Too deep.
AI.
Okay, I think I have my stuff running. So yes.
Okay.
We're adding you here.
Oh my goodness, this looks so professional.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. This camera with the mini me shouldn't be there. I'm just gonna remove it. Okay. So we're there. Anyway, I can see the board. I have the code that we had last time, which wasn't working. So we're going to try. I mean, this is the same code that we had last time. And last time it wasn't working. But then I got it to work. And I think I saved, but I do not exactly remember what I did. What I remember was that I had to go back to ChatGPT, apologize for not reading through the 500,000 lines of text that he wanted me to read. And then I fixed it. So I'm going to try to run. And if all goes well, we should see.
Real quick.
Yeah, there's definitely some Taylor Swift.
Wow, that's definitely recap, some basics. So we're looking at, we've got the MicroPython, the Arduino MicroPython lab on the right there. We've got a MicroPython Arduino Nano on the left. It's connected to a little Grove adapter. The Grove adapter is connected to a little LCD. And then we've got our ChatGPT generated code from the prompt that was show some Taylor Swift lyrics on this screen,
which I can bring the ChatGPT output here.
It's gone behind.
Should be visible now.
Hardware.
Okay, yeah, because I need to switch to this.
There we go.
Yes. Okay, so I mean, took a while to get it. to produce a lot. Kelly's not watching, but Kelly,
I'm taking a note. Okay, sorry, I don't have a.
No.
So Kelly, we're recording this.
No, what's funny is that this is literally what took us not to succeed last time. So in theory, we're like what we were trying to do. We were trying to simplify our lives as beginners to get the AI to solve all our problems, and the AI literally put us through a semester of CS1. It's like, look, Look at how much text. I can't remember ever reading this much text.
Can you copy and paste that in and say summarize this text?
Yeah, there's another really good important hack with ChatGPT across the board. Gotta always do this. In the beginning, you can say in 100 words or less, or only give me the code without any extraneous information or description.
Sure.
Like be extremely explicit with it.
What I like the most though is that once you've figured it out, with the help of ChatGPT and Google and Stack Overflow and 5 family and friends that you phone in to help from home, you can literally copy this text and say, this one worked. Thank you. And now I'm going to enclose it here. And it's going to do something to take the merit. It's like, yeah, of course it works because I told you so. But anyway, yeah,
okay. Well, but that's really nice and concise. We're not getting a semester of computer science education. We're just getting, well, maybe we are. Wow.
Yeah, it's still like the professor is still talking.
Okay, well, can we say, I just want the goods. Don't tell me the reason.
Can you just give me the gist of it? Not philosophy, please. And so let me tell you one thing. One thing that I absolutely love about conversational AIs, let's call them conversational AIs. I love the fact that when I was a child, I don't know, 10 something, I had this primordial video game console from Philips, which worked with cartridges, but it had a keyboard. This keyboard was only used to enter 3 letters of your name when you put in a high score. But in my mind as a child, during our play sessions with my sister, my cousins, we were pretending that was the machine that we used to communicate with the space station, right? So we pretended we typed in, and the machine answered, but it was some of us. What I love about this today is that I can literally talk to a machine which will figure out the best guess to answer back to me. So I don't need an imaginary friend anymore.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get rid of all your friends and your family and oh, Lord. No, don't say that.
The imaginary ones are probably going to go. And I'm going to replace them with this.
Well, I mentioned before that Jay Jorvan Mas was talking about, his project that is a little, companion bot that he's trying to add an LLM for. And he's doing that specifically so that he has someone to hang out with, because he's like annoyed with humans and like just wants a nice friend that isn't going to be annoying.
Oh, I love Jay, and I don't want him to be annoyed with me. I want him to keep hanging out with people like me. Like, humans are good people. This is where it's at. I like my computer friends too.
Well, I saw him last week, so he hasn't checked out yet. But
we just have to expand our hearts to love all these things, people. So can we just try something, since you've got ChatGPT just there? Like, what do you want to do with this cool Arduino? Can we ask? I'm just curious if it'll do this. Can we ask it to animate Nyan Cat? Why not?
That's interesting.
It should know.
They might. Yeah.
So this is a RP2040.
Don't say any chance. No, be like, do it.
I love to be provocative and polite at the same time with machines.
Okay.
I do not want to reduce my wit just because I'm talking to a machine. So I'm going to be a little passive aggressive. Right. It's like, any chance we can show is it Nyan with an I or Y? I don't know.
Nyan, Cat. N-Y-A-N, cat.
No, N-I-A-N. No.
No, NY.
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 Y. Cat on this.
And I don't think it's a nyan cat. I think it's literally nyan cat.
Yeah, nyan cat.
Is
that really?
Let's see. Nyan cat animation.
GIF, animated GIF.
Or no, whatever. Because then you
don't feed it that. Don't feed it that.
Let's not push it.
Yeah.
Let's not push it. Let's see where it goes.
See, you even capitalize Nyan Cat. It's like, look, I'm way ahead of you. I know who Nyan Cat is. Come on.
But look what it's doing. It's asking me to convert Nyan Cat frames to bitmap data. You need to convert each frame. Fine, I can get it. Store the frames in your script. Display.
Oh, wait. I have a trick. Try this. Say, draw Nyan Cat. Do that. See what it does. Oh, do you not have? Oh, you're not using chat.
No, it's retaining the context of the hardware, right?
Yeah. Look. This is
good.
This is binaries.
Yeah.
For this.
So is that bitmap? Does the bitmap array correctly correspond to that display?
Let's try.
Like that looks.
Who knows?
That's not enough data.
No, it does. It doesn't look like it, but we're gonna try. We're gonna see what it does.
I think it's gonna I think it's just gonna put a thing on the screen that has nothing to do with the request. But go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Like
David, when I made the Spark Gap animation, the way I did that was I just asked ChatGPT to draw a series of frames with a particular style that said the Spark Gap, and then I just animated them. And I left it kind of crappy because
that's the challenge. Yeah, that's the realistic.
That doesn't look like Nyan Cat.
It looks like Nyan Cat.
It looks like a little turnip or something.
Looks like a plum. Looks like a plum somehow.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty bad.
I mean,
and it's sitting on top of Taylor Swift. Anyway.
Oh, is it confusing? Is it turning Taylor Swift lyrics into Nyan Cat, or is there something still stored in your buffer, your memory?
No, there's still a background, but it's kind of weird because it shouldn't. But I can try and do this. Like, wait, where are you?
So it just downloads whatever example it could find, and then rename the variable to Nyan Cat, and that thinks, and that's good enough. And it thinks. By the way, so the resolution is even close to being like the bitmap was never enough to be, the array was never enough to be a bitmap for the screen, let alone an animated one.
Well, that may be part of the issue. So David, do you remember at the Hacker Day SuperCon 2019? The badge had Nyan Cat on it. Remember that? Okay. This was before crypto took off. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious. You were there.
I wasn't there, but I've got the badge.
Oh, okay. Because I was curious. I even have that badge, but my battery is dead. I should fire it up. I was curious the pixel resolution of the display that they used in the badge. Because obviously when you're animating on a small screen, you need to specify the pixel resolution. And I'm guessing ChatGPT doesn't know how to take Nyan Cat as an animated GIF and reduce it appropriately for the screen resolution.
I mean, it's not even doing anything. It's not displaying something at the wrong resolution on our screen that has nothing to do with the request. Like it doesn't even know the resolution. I'm going to grab that badge real quick. I'll be right.
Did he? Okay. Oops. How about let's start over and just say, write the text Nyan Cat. Just see if it'll just get us back to somewhere normal. Like right now we're in like Taylor Swift Nyan Cat glitch land, which feels very appropriate for today's recording.
So this is the badge you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Cool. I'm going to fire up.
Yeah, that's I know that display.
It was Sprite TM's one, right?
I don't remember that. I just remember, and maybe I'm conflating. Maybe there was a different badge someone else had that had Nyan Cat, but I just remember Hackaday SuperCon 2019, Nyan Cat badge because I was like, that's cool.
No, it's this one because it's Sprite TM, the guy that made this little Game Boy as well.
Okay, all right. The reason I remember it so well is I remember when NFTs exploded and Nyan Cat was selling for like millions of dollars. I was like, huh, what does that mean about my old Hackaday badge with the corroded battery in it? Maybe I should clean it up. Clean it up and make some money. Just kidding. No, I would never sell Nyan Cat on a Hackaday badge. Are you kidding me? That's worth its weight in gold. That's priceless.
Is it? Okay, so now I have an unresponsive display.
That's hilarious. It's going in the opposite direction. Now you're starting to make art with AI without really like intending to, but most art's made that way anyhow.
I am like, okay, I'm able to restore the display to a functioning thing, but if we try to confuse it, it gets confused when you ask it to display a bitmap, then it starts hallucinating, completely forgets the code that was assumed to be working, which is this one. And it just starts all over again, and it tries to get you to initialize the screen, and it just doesn't work anymore.
So what's the screen resolution?
This one is 128 by 128.
Okay, so why don't we say to ChatGPT, say, using 128 by 128, is it characters or pixels?
Pixels.
Okay, using 128 by 128 pixels, draw to the best of your ability a bitmap of Nyan Cat. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Look at that.
That's so pretty.
It's so nice. See, you've got like $100 million right there in your hand, David.
No, but look, it's trying to put some pixels on screen, but it's going to draw that kind of a diamond. It has no idea what Nyan Cat really is, in a way, or how to translate it to pixels.
Okay, can we just do something that's like less sort of
okay.
Can we just do like tell it to draw a tree or some kind of commonly understood item?
Sure, or a circle.
Can you draw a circle?
That's a good place to start.
Nyan Cat was way more fun though.
Yeah, but maybe it's like maybe that's excluded for reasons of something or other. I mean, it's Taylor Swift though.
But look what it's doing. It's telling me to initialize my communication port with the wrong pins, although we have told it several times that the pins were different.
Tell it it's wrong and see what it says.
Yeah, it's going to do the same thing that it did last time. It's going to give us 2 other wrong pins because it has no idea. The solution to this, the solution to this is to just remove the pins. So when you remove the pins, and the other thing that you need to do, which it told us last time, add the address of the screen. But this is all complicated stuff that you need to figure out. So let's see what it does now.
If we knew that, we could have done it by ourselves in the first place.
But you see, nothing. It's it doesn't even start the display anymore.
What is this telling you then? Like, is this telling you that ChatGPT really has no understanding of the hardware you're trying to control?
What I can tell is that ChatGPT is not a teacher. It's not the individual who's going to go figure out how every example for the next day class is going to work for everyone. I think it's a great tool in the hands of somebody like David or me, or somebody who, I don't know, wants to spend countless hours in figuring out things. But I think you could learn a thing or two on your own, and then you can become a prompt designer for Arduino.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying basically that I need to know as much about code as you or David to be a prompt designer for Arduino?
I mean, I don't want to hope so. I wish there was something that would make my job easier, that I could tell my students, preparation work for my class, just go through these 3 prompts and then try to do something, and then we'll pick it up the day after. But it's going to give different answers to different people.
It seems
And
like
yeah, I still have a job.
It's enhancing your productivity if you already know enough about it to be able to catch its mistakes.
This is
100%.
This is starting to sound like buy.com going out of business.
Ooh.
Just saying, that's kind of a problem. If it's like, hey, if the business proposition is like, let's spend $5 trillion on AI hardware so that we can continue to pay even more expensive salaries for people who already know how to do it, but then they can use AI to do it. Yeah.
There is a discourse that, like, a fraction of the discourse is centering on something that I do myself with ChatGPT or Copilot, right? Besides the ethical dilemma of Copilot is helping me write my code based on someone else's code, and this someone else never authorized Copilot to scrape thing. But we're in the world of everyone uses GitHub because any other alternative is not as good, and GitHub belongs to Microsoft, and VS Code and Copilot belong to Microsoft, and Microsoft has a chunk of OpenAI, and it's always the same actors. But the way that I use it, leaving aside the ethical dilemma, is I'm writing some code and I need one specific algorithm which I do not want to research. So my code already works. I have like a really slow algorithm of sorting things based on some parameters. And I'm like, can you simplify this? I want to sort this based on, and I give it my code. And he gives me a code that is sometimes it's even slower than mine, but maybe it gives me a different perspective. So the way that I consider ChatGPT and these conversational AIs in code, you have one of those friends who knows everything about any language, and it's a very expensive rubber ducky.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, rubber ducky. Yeah, but yeah, I like the idea of the friend, because that friend is going to tell you how to do it in Perl, but they don't know your MicroPython project. They're just like, here's how I would do it. But they're not going to go in there and type in your code for you. They're just going to say, here's the general concept. You want to use like a linked list and then do this or whatever. And then you take it from there.
All right. So what I'm taking from this is that where we are today, just today, I know it's going to change, but for today, the only people who can use AI to do cool things with hardware are people that already know how to write code for hardware or design hardware, right?
I would say that.
Like, yeah,
okay.
Feels like that.
Okay. And that's, okay. So that's fine. So that's where we are today. So then just since we're already over time, I wanted to throw out there that I feel like some of our future conversations then should focus on, let's assume that you know how to write code. Fine. What can we do using AI, like sort of related to what you showed with Seed, David, but expanding on that? What can we do with AI, with a large language model, to achieve things on hardware that couldn't be done before? Did you see the thing I sent you via Instagram message? I don't know if you saw it. It was like a Google project that was like this sort of game of life flowing thing. Did you see that?
I got the notification, then got distracted with something else.
That's fine.
But go ahead and explain that.
Yeah, well, so I worked with about a year ago with an engineer. We were looking at ways of using of Conway's Game of Life, which is a really interesting piece of software, right? Because it makes things feel like they're living, because it's rule-based and it grows and propagates, and yeah. So it was essentially a very complex Google implementation of something like Conway's Game of Life. But according to the Instagram post, which of course you should believe everything you read on Instagram, this particular Google AI application was highly sophisticated in its lifelike qualities, like its algorithmic lifelike qualities. And so in a sense, it's similar to like Refik Anadol, right? The giant, MoMA splashing color, moving light, right? So he's doing some cool stuff. And there are other software engineers doing cool stuff with generative AI that has lifelike qualities. What can we do that incorporates hardware?
So real quick, I think we've even talked about this before, but the thing, I just looked at it, and what it reminds me of, I don't know if you can see it over my shoulder. Oh, well, real quick. First of all, we've been going a full hour with Ubi, so if we have time, I'd love to jump into the local LLM stuff. If you're ready for that, Ubi.
Oh yeah, I have it there.
And I won't get rid of your desktop.
Let me just check quickly. Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep going.
What I was going to say, Kelly, the thing that you sent me on Instagram, it reminds me a lot of the William Latham art. That I don't know if you can see it over my shoulder. I can't see myself very well right now. I'm kind of small.
You should zoom yourself up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me get rid of the desktop. Yeah. But over my shoulder, right here, where this little tube is this organic art by William Latham, who used generative algorithms about 30 years ago to create something that looks exceedingly similar to the thing that you sent me. And this was the idea of, there's algorithms that you type in and something deterministic happens. And then there's algorithms that are generative, like generative AI, that can propagate new stuff because you put some stuff into the computer and then it mutates and it creates new weird stuff. And maybe it crashes along the way, but if it doesn't, then it comes up with some cool stuff that didn't come out of your mind, that didn't come out of your fingers.
Yeah.
It actually generated a new thing. And it's almost like if you showed me that and told me that was from the 90s and an early experiment from William Latham, I would totally believe that, because that's almost exactly like.
I mean, people were exploring this kind of interesting rule-based lifelike coding when I was at the Media Lab. So John Maida, Golan Levin, Casey Reese, Ben Fry, they were doing really interesting things with software that felt living. Like Golan Levin in particular would have these like planaria that would swim around the screen. So super cool. Those kinds of algorithms now, like if you take that and you add what a large language model can do, and then you even more so think about it in the context of hardware that has sensors, sound, accelerometer, touch, vision, that's like, wow, that's kind of a cool toolkit right there. Yeah. What can we do with that?
Well, I just think that there's a massive extra layer of complexity compared to something that you have pixels, where the pixels reside. And code that manipulates pixels. That stuff is easy. When you need the world to interact with your pixels, that's, it can go wrong in so many ways, because there's millions of sensors, millions of addresses, of bits that have to travel back and forth over wires. And to make that.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I really want you to unpack that. Like, what do you mean specifically when you say that?
So
this is like
imagine that that's what you want to do. You want to manipulate. You have like a visual input which is composed of pixels. These pixels are in your computer on your screen. You want to add a rule-based algorithm that manipulates pixels. So every red pixels will shift right and up twice. That's a rule. Every green pixel will do this. Now what you want to do is move every green pixel based on the humidity that is in the room, multiply the number of pixels by a percentage of humidity.
Yeah.
This means that the first part is easy. Say, move it by 3 pixels, up and 2 down. Fine. The second part is you need to add one of this one of these wires this thing as a specific address. So ChatGPT does not own the universal knowledge to do everything. It's going to try to make things up. It's like when you go to have an exam and you haven't studied and you just start saying, so tell me about Pythagoras. Yeah. Oh, Pythagoras lived in, and he created this triangle thing.
Yeah. So Ubi, you're talking about something that's really important also to just bookmark this for where we are in history. And this is also what makes that seed device really interesting. ChatGPT is amazing for what it does, but we don't get to train the large language model. We have no ability, we meaning us as makers, to train it on our own proprietary data. Now, I know companies buy, wait, David's like, please let me talk. Okay, talk.
So what a great segue, because the other thing that I want Ubi to do is show us the local LLM that he's using with Olama. And that will basically take care of what you're talking about. So that's why I want to
that's the thing.
Let's dive into that real quick.
So we can literally train our own models. Well, we can extend models with our own language. So there is this.
Do you need your camera? Can we get the command line bigger and across the whole screen?
I don't need the camera. I should have this, and then I want to put.
If we can put
this one,
that would be good.
Because Ubi,
this one, yes.
Would it be accurate to say, so you were just explaining like, okay, ChatGPT doesn't know the whole world. It doesn't know this, the hardware space. Okay. But what you're about to show us, can we create our own model or extend an existing model that it would know those things and therefore it would be able to operate in our world?
Yeah. So like, as you know, I am, slowly dipping my toes into this thing. I don't have half the knowledge of so many other people, but a friend of mine pointed me to this. So you can install Olama, which is Open Llama. Llama is a large language model by Meta, and there is a Llama 3 is offered for free by Meta. They train it. So when you install Olama, you can choose several models that you can use, and you can use one called Mistral, I think, which is. It looks like a friend of mine was explaining me that some Italians created it in the Silicon Valley. But let's say that I want to ask Olama to run. Wait.
Is there any way to make that font a little bit bigger, Ruby?
I should be able to, but.
Cool. Awesome.
There we go. That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So.
What's Llama 3?
Llama 3 is the model by Facebook. By Meta. Yeah, they train it and it keeps getting updated, and then you can use it through this front end. Essentially, this front end allows you to download a runner. This runner installs some tools in the command line, and then you can choose which models you want to run. You can use Gemma, Llama 3, Quen 2, Phi 3, Mistral. And this is a 7 billion model. So 7 billion in theory should be the vectors of training. I don't exactly know what I'm talking about. But let's say that I want to use this thing because I do not want to become an artificial intelligence engineer. I want to have something on my machine that I can talk to. So I run this Llama 3, which I have downloaded previously.
Why did you choose Llama 3? You had all those options. Why'd you choose Llama 3?
Because it's the default one that gets downloaded when you run it.
Okay.
That's the thing. But I could, I could do this control. Okay. Bye. I could do Olama run Mistral. And what it's going to do, it's going to download the data. It's 4 gigabytes and I'm on a reasonably fast connection. So we can use Mistral. They say
God, another Mercury retrograde, data thing here happening.
But my friend Pierluigi says that this one is not evil. I don't know. I tend to trust my friends, but everyone is evil. So,
wait a minute. Which
right,
ones are evil according to your friends?
Well, Facebook's going to be evil, obviously.
well, I mean, Llama 3 by Meta.
Yeah.
You can't possibly good, can it? Anyway, this one is done.
I mean, who's not evil in this
that was the point.
realm of multi-billion-dollar companies who are owning all the data? Like, who's not evil?
Well, us. That's
No,
why we
you're
do
right.
your own thing.
I am like,
We don't own anything except for some badges with Nyan Kitty.
You said that was worth $100 million.
I mean, you know, in my dreams. Maybe one day.
okay. So what I like about this is that it has an interface through command line, fine, but I do love typing into the command line that very easily installs what I need to communicate with it. And then I can just say, who are you? I am a large language model trained by Mistral AI.
Ask it about Kelly.
Do you?
Ask it about Kelly.
Yeah. Do you know Kelly Heaton?
Oh, God.
Let's say. I don't have personal knowledge or experience, so I don't know Kelly Heaton in the way that people typically know one another. It's making up stuff as it goes.
Wait, on the Spark app? No. Yeah, that is actually a true Kelly Heaton.
Can we do the artist Kelly Heaton?
Artist, apparently.
Artist Kelly Heaton.
Okay. Sorry? Artist.
Tell us about the artist
man. Kelly. The artist Kelly Heaton. Let's see. Well, I really do not like when they keep apologizing.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
Oh.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's not me, but so I have a Kelly Heaton friend who lives in Portland, Oregon.
She teaches at NYU. Let's try it this way.
I don't know if I like where this is going. I'm like, wait.
About the Kelly Heaton teaches at NYU. Let's try to be conversational with the conversational model.
Got an extra A in
so let's see if they bought your information somewhere. There is a professor Kelly Heaton who teaches me.
Oh, goodness.
Such a person. Is it,
now I'm pretty sure that this model is making shit up because I mean, maybe there's a Kelly Heaton that teaches those things at NYU.
Ask it the same question, but just put some random characters in for the name. Say any information about the teacher at NYU, and let's see if it hallucinates a person.
Oh yeah, let's try that. Any information about
just randomly smash the keyboard.
Bridgerton, Middle East.
Yeah, it's gonna say the famous TV presenter and artist and CrossFit enthusiast.
There is no known location. Oh my God! It thinks that it's a city because I said Bridgerton.
Ask it about the one.
Oh goodness!
NYU.
Oh my God! Bridge. Yeah, it's making stuff up. It's right. This is the thing. It's like when you haven't studied and your teacher asks you a question. So
ask it the same thing.
Bridge in Middle Earth thing?
The famous surgeon. Middle East. You should know your science, right? Okay. It's gonna be so easy to pick on these things.
Come on.
Oh yeah. That always is.
You got this.
Now the good thing is that I don't understand. Oh, I could find maybe a fictional character.
Okay.
Could be.
Well, so who knows? Maybe there is a Professor Kelly Heaton at NYU who teaches, about gender and sexuality and queer London.
That is something that you should look.
There could be,
maybe.
I mean, we should, to be fair, it could be true.
It could totally be true.
Wait, now I'm like,
But let me tell you one trick. No, I want to tell you one trick. I want to tell you one trick about this, which is super interesting. And it's, oh my God, Google, please. I can go to one of my github.com/
We're only seeing your command line right now, Ubi. I don't know if you're trying to share your browser.
No worries. I'm just copying a random URL for a, let me see. Yeah. So I'm going to copy a URL because the great thing about these models is that you can tell them where to find information. So you can say, can you summarize the code at this URL?
And we know the guy who wrote it, so we'll know if it's true or not.
Yeah. So the good thing is that essentially what you can do, you can feed information about code bases, not local ones. So this engine will never scrape your hard drive. It's prevented from it.
Yeah.
But it will go to any URL, scrape the content of the URL, and feed its own local database of things. So you can, in theory, have the main engine, Llama or Mistral, augmented. Yes?
Can you look up the 2019 Hackaday badge and have it, look at that repo?
Sure. So let me just go here. Which 2000?
2019 Hackaday SuperCon badge. Just find the
badge.
Can't you just tell it to find the repo? Why do we have to look this up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if it can do this because it's not a given. Okay, can you look up information about the?
Let's say find the source code. I mean, yeah, let's start there, but let's get the source. Let's ask it for the source code after that.
So far, I am not very impressed by Meta large language models. That's not because it didn't know who I am, by the way. I just want to throw it out there. But more that the only thing that I've really found that ChatGPT is great for is that it's incredible about writing and synthesizing things. And it actually does have really encyclopedic understanding of a lot of stuff that's happened. And it's also really good at synthesizing images.
Was this the Llama 3 though, or did we end up sticking with Mistral? I can't remember if we switched back.
It's Mistral.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, good. Yes.
So look, it found something. I want to.
Okay.
Oh no, it's a 404. Oops.
Yeah.
Wait, so did it make up the URL, or it's just there's
it might be.
Yeah,
might
this
be
is
that
like
it made it
scaring me. Actually, it's just. I mean, that's just a whole bunch of like BS, really.
We don't know because this information might have become part of the model,
and then it went
before it got removed from GitHub.
Yeah. Well, this is also making me feel like I used to feel back in like 1988 when I was trying to learn how to use Terminal. It's like not really making me feel very supported with stuff that's going to help my life.
Yeah, for nerds like us, and I mean, I don't know how much time David spends in the shell. For me, it's most of the day.
I love it. Nice.
I mean, this reminds me of like going to use a terminal when I was at college, back in the 90s. And it was like, in theory, the book that you're looking for exists somewhere in our collection. You're like,
in theory. That's fantastic. But I like the option of having this because in the end, look at this. So I tried this.
I found
when I type something, will you send it to some servers? I tried this the first day, right? And with Llama 3, it told me that it would try, if the knowledge is not local, it will try to find information. So I asked it not to, and it said that it wouldn't. But can I trust the machine? No.
Well, maybe
ask
it what it was trained on. What data set was it trained on and when?
They don't know.
They won't tell you?
No, they don't know. That's
Why?
the thing. So the way that there is a really interesting, there's a series of conversations about this on Tech One Save Us, and The Verge talk about it a lot. And essentially what it comes to is that they train on massive amounts of data, but they do not track which data comes from where. So they have, at the end of the day, a massive list of URLs and endpoints, but you don't know which words or which reasoning comes from where. So if it gives you a piece of code, it will never be able to tell you if that code comes from that specific URL.
Yeah, and this is going to be a real problem with AI for more than one reason. It's going to be a problem for copyright violation accusations, alleged, but not necessarily, we don't even really know if it can't say where it got something. It's going to be a problem for theft of information. It's going to be a problem for provability in science, in medicine, legal claims, right? Like, until, I think the only way AI is going to be able to advance is if we give it a modicum of self-awareness. It has to have some understanding.
This is like way more problematic than we can even fathom. So if you think about it, there is a tiny group of developers who have their code base on GitHub as open source with licenses. Yeah. And they are suing OpenAI, as they're suing Copilot, so Microsoft, because it trained on their own code base. And when it advises, but when it advises somebody, when it creates some code for me, based on the code that David wrote 5 years ago, and maybe the code that I get ends up in a repository which has a license that is not compatible with the original license.
Yeah.
So these developers now are suing these companies and say, you're not allowed to do this, because every time you give a piece of code, you have to attach the label and say, hey, this is MIT, or this is GPL3.
Yeah. Like it's open source, but you have to credit it.
Yeah. So it's a kerfuffle.
I found some information about the badge real quick. So Hackaday's entire GitHub repo doesn't exist anymore somehow. I don't know what's going on there. But I mentioned that the guy who made this is that Sprite TM, Jerome Domberg, and it's on his GitHub. So if you go to just github.com/SpriteTM, it's actually the first one there. Is that is it going to do that? That'd be good.
The other thing I just looked at,
this is the URL, right?
Yeah. If it can do that, that'd be cool. What were you going to say, Kelly?
Just because I don't care that it knows who I am, but I'm just curious if it's making stuff up. I just Googled NYU professor Kelly Heaton, queer feminism, right? Because those were two of the words it picked out.
Yeah.
That person doesn't exist.
I couldn't find her all. I could only find. I went through several pages. It was you every time on every single thing.
Well, yeah. Again, this is not about like me. It's more like, is this telling us the truth? And I think it's making stuff up. Okay. This is like worse than OpenAI.
No, but this is cool though, because think about, Kelly, if this was running on a Raspberry Pi or a Jetson or something. And
it does.
It's something we can pump some stuff into to get it primed for us, and then have our sort of idea of a conversational piece of hardware. This is why I wanted to look at this, is because this is leading towards that, in my opinion. Even though it doesn't know who famous people are, look at this stuff. This is actually.
Look at what it's doing. We asked it to give us some of the code.
Forget everything I said. This is trash. This is. I said that
it
before.
is so trash.
Absolute.
Guys, like, honestly, we're gonna see a lot of stuff go down over the next few months. And the thing that scares me the most is that large corporations are laying off thousands of employees every month all over the world, right? No, not necessarily. The thing is that the same companies are investing billions in AI. They're laying off humans to invest in AI. But do you remember when everybody was, hey, let's invest in NFTs?
That's what we were talking about while you were rebooting. I was talking about hype bubbles and killer apps, and yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about while you were rebooting.
It's but the conclusion is not that it's all going to go up in flames. I think it's more like you said, David, that, you know, I don't know, buy.com or pets.com, or I forget now, like some of the more famous examples, but there's going to be certain big names that we think are going to do really well, that are going to suffer hardcore. And then other names that do brilliantly, because also, you know, God, David, you're so right. Like, I mean, when you're dealing with NVIDIA, for example, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Trillions.
They're going to do incredible, mind-blowing things that we cannot touch no matter what, you know? Crap. Like, we can't even, you know?
But then someone's going to come along and do a quantum version of that.
Well, okay.
Out of business. And...
I mean, well, that's always ever like, yeah, out there. But I mean, I guess I don't know. It's just my mind is exploding at the moment, because on the one hand, I do think that we are going to see some applications of AI that are like absolutely amazing and more in line with this excitement and fantasy that I had when we came into this Spark Gap initially. But the more we dig into it and look under the hood, I'm kind of feeling like what I'm seeing is like there's this multi-trillion-dollar hood that I can't look under. Just too bad. Can't. Nope. No way. Can't do it. Like, you can drive the car if you want to pay for it, but like you have no ability to affect it. Mm-hmm. And then I've got this like crappy Tinker Toy hood that's a bunch of junk, and the car doesn't even have tires, and I can look under the hood, but why would I?
Well, so, you know, I've been saying that there's these different hype cycles, and I mentioned, you know, in reverse order, crypto and apps and web and all of that. Going back even further, personal computing, right? So the thing that you just described, it used to be there was a bunch of really expensive, really fancy computers that maybe if you were really lucky, you could get a chance to touch. And then a bunch of people were like, hey, I got this thing in my garage that I just kind of like cobbled together with some wire wrap and a little cheap CPU. And, you know, that started out as a little rinky-dink thing, but now that's where Apple came from or whatever.
There's a major difference. And the major difference is that when Wozniak and Jobs made their own little computer in their garage, they did not ask anybody $3 trillion of investment.
Yeah,
that's what Altman has been asking for.
Yeah,
$3 trillion to create the next CPU, GPU, TPU, whatever, XPU for AI. And these companies, can I use the word sucker?
Yes, you can use the word whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, the suckers are going to give him the money, and the same sucker are pulling funding from other things that are way more important.
Well, so Ubi, okay, just, you know, okay, just for a sec, is the argument that you're making that no matter how smart Sam Altman or Jensen Huang and their team of incredible engineers, okay, no matter how smart they are, is the argument that you're making that just because you throw $3 trillion at something doesn't mean you're going to get something any good? Is that your point?
You might get something good, but you're going to get $10,000 worth of good, not $3 trillion. But in my example, I was saying that I wasn't saying that I wasn't saying Sam Altman is Apple. I was saying
Okay.
Sam Altman is IBM or some large mainframe manufacturer. I was saying that I'm Wozniak, Kelly, Steve Jobs, and I don't know who you want to be, Ubi. You can be someone. So you can be some Olivetti person.
The janitor. I'm the janitor. I'm a
Olivetti person. And we're the ones that are trying to do like some weird stuff in our garage that is kind of like this big, inaccessible, difficult thing that we don't have the money for. That's the OpenAI, is the IBM or whatever. And then we're like the weird little scrappy thing that's maybe going to do something cool in our garage, or maybe it's not going to be anything. But,
well, no, I mean, we're definitely doing cool stuff in our garage. Nobody's going to stop us from that. The question is whether or not, we're
going to use AI for that.
Well, we're still, no, but we're asking the right questions though, because we have no like stake here, except that we're truly interested and we have a background in technology in many ways. We've got this team of 3 people has software engineering, hardware engineering, art, design. We've got a lot of skills. We're not stupid. And yet we're looking at this and kicking the can and going, what's not, I still am like, something's not adding up here. What's going on?
Kelly, I want this to happen.
Me too.
Because I already have ideas on how to make it, make my life easier. But I do not want to see trillions of dollars wasted on something that will waste trillions of kilowatts. Like terawatts of power that are powered by coal, and then to get something that generates an illustration of me with the cucumbers growing out of my head. I am so on one hand, take this is the last thing that I want to say.
You don't want that. What about cats?
I have cats. I scroll for real cats. But take this. Like, this is pure provocation. Apple is a company that has promised to be carbon neutral by, I think, 2030. 100% carbon neutral. They even promised that all their devices will be charged with renewable energy. We don't know, because the device that is sold in, I don't know, like in China is probably going to be charged with whatever, right? So, but they have their idea of offsetting all the carbon in their whole ecosystem. So carbon offsetting for me is offensive. When somebody tells me, let's carbon offset, you're like, you're talking to me that I'm stupid. So a company that is doing this is investing. We don't know how much money they're going to invest in this, but they're investing heavily in something that wastes a lot of resources, and they're wrapping it up this way because Wall Street was complaining that Apple had not used the words artificial intelligence yet. Their stock was going down because everybody was talking about AI, and then suddenly Tim Cook, who's a very intelligent person, had to cave in and say, guys, mostly men in my board, we need to say AI. Yeah, but we can't say artificial intelligence. We have to call it Apple intelligence. And Wall Street.
Okay, so I'm not disagreeing with you, but this is a minefield of contradictions. No, but this is literally a minefield of contradictions, because on the one hand, we have just proven that 3 smart people can waste, maybe, or you could argue, a lot of time trying to get AI to do something relatively simple and fail. Okay, so that's number 1. Sure. Number 2, we've also proven that for any one individual or small corporation, or even maybe a big corporation who wants to use AI on their own proprietary data, it might be a real long time before we're going to get any kind of interesting results and many, many terawatts of energy, to your point, Ubi. Okay.
Yes.
However, also in this minefield of contradictions, we have at least, I don't know about you guys, but I can say, like, I have been blown away at how much my interactions with ChatGPT have enhanced my life in terms of my ability to iterate through ideas, to design things, to ask questions, to write things, to design strategies, make images, anything. Okay. Like it's like literally, I would say it's increasing my, my rate of iterating through design possibility by, 10 to 100 fold. Okay. That's real.
Same for me. But we are the people who know and learn quickly how to use the tools. Yeah. I have a very complex CNC machine, and everybody thinks you put a chunk of whatever material and it's going to make a 3D thing or a 3D printer.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like you need to understand how to design something for a machine to print it.
It's right. Yes. And prompt engineering is a very, very real thing. As I said before, if you do not ask excellent questions and actually do a series of follow-up inquiries where you're very specific about how you're chiseling away at the problem space, you get something really like Melba milquetoast, not useful. Or total garbage. I mean, with image generation, you have to specify everything from the format, the orientation, the camera angle, the lighting, the type of pen, the color palette. I mean, the style, the date, everything.
You just described exactly what we're doing with the hardware. You have to be an expert in that domain to get it.
You have to be an expert.
Otherwise,
so that's the thing.
Yes.
The tool is only useful in the hands of a capable user.
Yeah.
And it's true with everything. It's true with everything, Kelly. Like when at any point in history, when an innovation comes through, lots of people, usually I'm not trying to be classist or anything. Usually the bottom, let's call them the people at the bottom, you know, the ones who just push the buttons, right? Pushing the buttons can be replaced by a robot which has fake fingers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it can do the same. The Homer Simpson pushing the button thing with the, you know, with the elastic stuff. So, but to create more advanced things, the intelligence or the tool needs to be supported by the human counterpart. We still cannot have machines feeding into machines. We can, but then the result is garbage.
Well, I do think, though, that some of what's holding back the growth or the improvement of AI is around very legitimate ethical concerns. You've already mentioned the energy crisis. That's an absolute issue. But there's also the ethical concern, as I said before, that from a purely computer science vantage, we probably need AI models that can develop self-awareness so that they can give us more meaningful information and reflection on how they've arrived at their decision making, and that they can also just make better decisions. Because right now, when they've been cut off from self-awareness, they are put into this space where all they can do is resynthesize based on statistical probability, right? Like, it's not, they're not able to go back and say, well, you know, this percentage of the time this was successful, and therefore I'm going to reincorporate with you know what I mean? Like, that's what needs to happen. That's how intelligence really works. And
but we're also at the same time giving it lots of boundaries, because when we leave them alone on Twitter, we get white supremacist bots.
And
and I hate white supremacist bots, but it's fascinating that is like real.
But we saw.
I'm not scared of watching two bots turn into the Fourth Reich verbally.
I don't really like that idea.
No, you know what I mean?
No,
you know what I mean? You can leave these two. They will start talking to each other, and then they will feed on some tweets by whoever Elon Musk lets on his platform. And then you're there says, what the hell is going on here? And they will continue forever. So we are, in a way, we need to limit them, and we need to give them ethics nets, safety nets.
So
and then
absolutely. So because that's what I was saying. It's a minefield because we have multiple things at odds. We have the moral factors, the ethical issues, and at the same time, we have what's required in order for AI to become better and be of greater value service to humanity. So we have these two things. And really, I think the only solution is that we have like ethical human structures in which AI is managed and curated. Like, sooner or later we're gonna have to like just be better. Honestly.
We saw what a half-assed job it did of all of the different requests we gave that. Why would it do any better, or even why would it do an acceptable job of regulating itself, reinforcing its own learning, etc.? Like that's just.
I don't think it will, David. I think that has to do. I think that has to do with human curation, but I also think the reason we're getting really crappy results is that we don't have the ability to train, or at least we haven't trained a large language model on our own data set so that it understands the world in which we're operating. Because if you and I, for example, could design a piece of hardware and then come to it and say, this is the world, these are all the things in the world, this is the design, this is the code base, this is here's the schematics for the circuit, the whole thing. And AI is like, cool, all right, I know myself, right? This is the world I'm living in. And then we could have it operate in that world. Well, then we're getting somewhere.
So I just want to point out, we've been going for an hour and a half. Do we want to come to a conclusion and wrap it up?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of actually hope that nobody's watching by this point.
What were you going to say, Ubi?
What I think is that the moment we left the machine and the GPT and the large language models, and we came to 3 humans, the discourse became even more interesting. But we're philosophizing in a way.
No, I made that comment, Ubi, not because it's absolutely interesting, but I was like, man, we almost had a presidential assassination yesterday. And I'm like, we gonna wake up and the US stock market crashes tomorrow because some bot was scraping our feed and like, oh crap, AI has no commercial value. Like, please. No,
honestly, I can't wait for these things to get better, but I do not want them to get better at detriment of the environment or or human life itself.
No, because we want them to get better so they can solve hard problems, which is the whole point. Like, we want AI to get better so that it can solve the energy crisis, so that it can help us cure cancer. So that's what we need. Yeah.
But if you look at the way things are going right now, who's leading these things and stuff like that, that's a very naive hope, in my opinion, because that's not what's happening right now. They're just consuming and ignoring ignoring all the things that we've talked about as being important, and just running ramshot over all that. So
and we are once again, thanks to advertising and marketing and so on, we are creating unnecessary needs for prompt engineers to make advertising. Those are the positions that you can find. Like media agencies are hiring prompt engineers. I mean, for $1 an hour.
$1?
That's where we are now. You know what I mean? Like I'm
$1 an hour?
No, not $1 an hour, but I'm telling you, for like super cheap, they're hiring people across the globe. Like we're hiring from like, I don't know, India or like Bangladesh. We're hiring like super cheap labor to do robocalls. Sorry, not robocalls, but like marketing calls. Now they're hiring the same people because these kids on their computer, they're really good at talking to the machines, right? And they're super cheap. So corporations are saying, hey, we can make advertising, make a lot of money, and pay no money. So let's make the tools.
Is the advertising any good?
Probably not.
Is any of the advertising any good nowadays?
There is such a thing as good ads. Absolutely. I mean, I have respect for creative ad campaigns. Sure.
But wait, what were you going to say? You're like, that's a downer. Go. You were about to say the opposite, I think. Say that, and then let's end on whatever you're about
look,
to say.
I've been in advertising for many years. I worked for Wilder and Kennedy. I worked for other agencies. So like, I know that world. I think that now there's a big need of quick shot, tiny ads that scroll through infinite feeds, and the agencies, they don't want to pay for that. It's not, we're not trying to make a new ad for I don't know, like
Apple
whatever
might be
interesting thing.
Yeah.
So there's cheap demand for cheap everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. We have a lot to discuss. We'll have to keep going next week or something. Yeah. Okay.
What's our conclusion? What's our final words? What's our
It's all gonna be okay.
There you go. Okay, I like that.
Eventually.
All right. That way and down. Okay, there we go. All right.
Okay, no, I'm gonna do it this way. Okay, so here, I think I got it.
Yeah.
Ciao, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.